the road coming back.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for joining us for tonight's edition of HR Mentorship Learning Series. Tonight, we'll be looking at the topic, building an inclusive and ethical workplace. We have the privilege and pleasure of having a regular speaker on this prestigious platform, Mary Oyema, and I will read very quickly to brief and people mentor, life coach, management, a strategic HR leader who is passionate about people and change. She has over 12 years experience in human resource management operations across different industries, not limited to trade, construction, real sector, and so on and so forth. She was the head of HR, Jemima Nigeria Limited, Merit Abode Limited, and Grand Grace School Limited. She is currently the HR lead for Aviatrix, and she has also worked with Sky Power and at different times and in various capacities. She has a master's degree in peace and conflict from the University of Ibadan, and she's an associate member of the Charter Institute of Personnel Management of that. General Secretary. He is very active on several HR platforms, HR mentorship group. Ladies and gentlemen, speaking to us on the topic, building an inclusive and ethical workplace. Let's welcome Mary Oyema. Over to you, Mary.
Thank you so much, sir. Good evening, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you might be joining us. We want to say a very big thank you for finding time to be on this call. I want to say thank you to the convener of this platform for creating this avenue for us to be able to share from our little wealth of knowledge and experience. Okay, so going straight into what we are looking at today, I want to be sure, can you hear me? Let me get your response in the chat room. If you can hear me, just say yes, yes, yes. If you can hear me. Can you hear me? Awesome. Omonuala, thank you. Omonua, thank you. Okay, so thank you, Easy. Yes, 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 exactly. Yes, this is obvious. I can see some able to get the instructions. Say yes, yes, yes. Okay, so we go right straight into what we are looking at. Building an inclusive, thank you, Mr. Charles. Building an inclusive and ethical workplace. Now, when we look at what we have here, we are starting the conversation looking at some statements from organization. We have some organization that have mission statement, vision statements. Example, some I was looking at some example of some organizations having to sell their brand using the mission statement. Company A will state, to empower all employees across all networks to achieve more. Company B mission statement is to create a workplace that value contribution and to build understanding among team members. And Company C states that building integrity and honesty into everything we say and do happens to be their own mission statement. So if you look closely to what has been written, you can deduce if an organization from its mission statement, from the value, if they actually have what it takes for such an organization to be tagged to be more of inclusive or not. Now, my next slide will be able to explain further into this, and that has to do with the fact that ethical behavior comes to play in an organization. That is in the next slide. Why are we looking at this topic? Why are we talking about diversity? Why are we talking about equity? Why are we talking about inclusion? If we look at company that states that building integrity and honesty into everything we say and do, yes, we can see that comes to play. But sometimes some organizations will have fantastic mission statements, but to actually live it become an issue. To actually live it become an issue. So the focus now is, why are we talking about this? Why are we addressing this issue? Is it something that we need to pay close attention to? Or is it just another topic that an HR will always come up just so that we make a presentation? So the first thing when I tell myself as I join an organization, I tell myself, what is my role? Why am I here? What value am I bringing to the table? What impact can I make? If I am not in sales, can an organization appreciate the fact that Mary was employed at so time, and as at the time she left, this is what we can say about her contribution? Because most of the time, when organizations have fantastic um, objectives, fantastic goals, it is the people, it is the employees that will run with the vision. Yes, of course, we know that a culture of an organization can only stand tall when management at the top also supports such policy. We totally agree. But we also know that we have some organizations that the management had done everything possible, but the foot soldiers that are supposed to carry out what is expected to the letters are found wanting. And why do they have such challenge? Is because probably the HR officer, the HR manager, the HR leader, the HR executive don't understand the role they are meant to play. Not just looking at the aspect of recruitment. Oh, I'm supposed to recruit. Company needs 15 staffs. That is what I'm focusing. No, but you want to see, how am I preaching the value? How am I projecting the behavior? My behavior, does it represent what the organization stands for? And sometimes I also tell myself that you should look at it as an individual. What value do you hold as a person? Are you honest? Do you have integrity? Are you transparent? Are you trustworthy? Can someone call you to say, "Oh, Mary, and please, I need you to pick so at so place," and the person was expecting you to be at that point, and because I'm not there, I then cook up stories. "Oh, I'm so sorry. Okay, I will be there in the next 5 minutes," and 5 minutes turns to 1 hour. 1 hour turns to one hour 20 minutes, and the next thing, in order to cover up the lies, you decide to switch off the phone. So when we talk about building inclusiveness, The aim is to ensure that all employees are treated equally without party A being discriminated, without having a group that you favor against the other group. So when we say our organization, we are responsible, we are also saying as an employee, we are also responsible. We are also saying that as a manager, as a team lead, as an employee, you are also responsible. You are also a leader. So a leadership here is not only when you are made
Still,
can you hear me? Okay, we are back. Sorry about that. That was network. If you can hear me now, let me get a yes. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. So we're talking about the fact that as a HR executive, the manager, an officer, whatever your position might be, it is our responsibility to make the receptionist to know that he or she is an authority in the desk he or she is occupying. I was trying to give an example. When I started out in HR, my as the assistant manager realized that I was so hungry to handle its assignment. So there was this particular day I have raised a memo, and then I asked him, I said, okay, sir, what next? So then he asked me, he said, do you want to sign this memo? I said, oh, sir, if you permit me, I will. But if you say no, then I'll allow you to sign it. Just tell me what to do. There was something he told me. He said he will give me the permission, the authority. That was exactly what he used. He said he will give me the authority to sign the memo, but I should also realize the implication of not reading through what I have sent out. And if I sign a document and there is an issue, I will go in for it. So, what has he done? He gave me the empowerment. Then he also made me to realize the implication. So I don't just get excited that, oh, management, my boss had given me the authority to sign any document. And so what am I trying to bring out? It is our responsibility to make the staffs the people we work with, the line managers, to realize that they are the image, the brand, and the face of the organization. And so that will also help them in how they project themselves. So now, why is it that we are looking at this? We are trying to make a business case on this topic. We are also trying to make a business case for the organization, and also try to make a case for the employee. So, in as much as we are trying to push for DEI, we are also trying to create a win-win situation for both the organization as well as the employee. Now, when we make this part and parcel of what we preach, of our HR practice, you realize that we create room for innovation. And how will innovation come to play? When you have team members that have ideas, how do we encourage members to bring in more ideas? Do we try to outshine them? When we have management meeting, when we have a meeting with a superior, do we try to shut them down, or do we try to show that we are the boss? Let me use that word. And so we tend to use more of commanding tone. Ngozi, okay, so you go and do this, you go and do that. So you are now dishing out instruction as against allowing them to bring in their suggestions. Okay, what do you think we can do concerning this issue? Ngozi, what's your opinion? Do we also try to encourage the team members? When we come from that angle, then there will be room for innovation. Creativity will come to play. And we now have diverse team generating more creative solution. And you find out that when an employee comes to an organization and find out that, oh, this is an organization that creates room for an employee to be themselves, you find out that they will not be afraid to make mistakes. Sometimes employees bottle up beautiful ideas for fear of being bullied, for fear of being mocked, or for fear of the line manager saying, I know you are coming up with another stupid idea. In, when you're having a team discussion, there is no idea that someone will bring up that will be stupid. Rather, you can then fine tune an idea which someone had been able to contribute. You can make it, put it in a more beautiful way. You can just say, okay, invariably, you're trying to say that, okay, in another shell, what you're trying to say is, how do you now encourage that person to be able to bring more ideas? You say, thank you. Oh, your idea is fantastic, even when you know it's not fantastic. Then you say, okay, we have let's write down what you have suggested. Who has more ideas? We need more contribution. And that way you find out that there'll be more let me get a yes. Okay. If you can hear me, let me can get okay. Let me be sure. Okay, awesome. Thank you. Thank you. I apologize, please, for the network interference. So it also improves employees' engagement. An environment that is inclusive will bring out the best in the employee. We also encourage culture, inclusive culture, and that boosts morale. For example, as a HR rep, of course, you're representing management. What are those activities you have been able to come up with to, to encourage inclusiveness? You may have employees from different cultural background. What are those activities you come up with? Sometimes you might have an employee that expresses himself or herself, and then you have that the language um, coloration, and then you tend to mock the person. No, as against doing that, you encourage the person, say, "Oh, I love what you have just said." Don't emphasize on the weak aspect of what you have said, because that is you're being biased. So it also creates strong financial performance for an organization, and then it also leads to better results. But we can only achieve this, DEI, we can only achieve this when we get it right at the point of entry, in terms of our recruitment, in terms of the shortlisting, in the hiring process. How are we sourcing for the candidates? And what are we looking at? What are the yardstick? Are we using our own biases in our selection? Even at the point of the interview, do we look at someone that is very slim because you are also slim, and they decide that, oh, this person speaks just the way like I speak. Oh, this person was able to start by saying good morning, mama, 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 and so you hold on to that, and then that now form a yardstick for for judging the candidates wrongly, forgetting that some of the candidates are coming from different backgrounds. So what are those stereotypes we hold on to that tends to mitigate and serve as a blockage, even when we are doing our selection? So when we are doing our recruitment, diversity must be number one, because we don't want to create a system, we don't want to create a culture whereby we only have a particular set of employees from a particular tribe, from a particular zone. And so when you now have minorities from a different zone, you start to treat them differently and start to see them as being inferior. I remember when I joined another organization, and because the people my state, Akwa Ibom State, were more in that organization. And so one of the staff walked up to me and she said, "Oh, since we are more in that state, we should team up. We should team up." And so that the other staff will know that, yes, we are now in charge. And this was just the third day of joining that organization when this lady made her comment. And then I said, "Oh, so you're from my state. Oh, fantastic. I'm happy to hear that." I said, "However, we don't hold that as a culture in our organization. That I am here to create the enabling environment. We are a family. We are not going to deal with one another based on where we are from, but we're going to deal with one another based on what had bind us as an organization and as a team." She was actually from a different department. Yes, by the time she left, she realized that, oh, what she said was wrong. And then she went back. And from that day, I saw a difference in her. So, what am I trying to say? We don't use our position to determine the set of people you want to see in the organization. No, and that means you are a wrong recruit. Then you don't qualify to occupy the position you are occupying. So when you are doing the recruitment, target people, candidates from different platforms. Reach out to different sources for your shortlisting so that you can get talent pool from different become a sole decision maker in an interview setting, there's tendency for you to see things from one perspective as against seeing things from multiple angles. So this is very key. Let's not let's not use our biases to serve as a yardstick in the recruitment process. Because when we get it right from the recruitment stage, then the tendency for us to get it right in the other stages will be there. And that means even at the point of this of making decisions, it will also reflect. Now, looking at the next, which has to do with fostering an inclusive work culture. Fostering an inclusive work culture has to do with the fact that when we create that enabling environment, there's room for open communication. And that is why we talk about open door policy. Let's not be in a haste. Yes, sometimes we might be tired and a staff walks in to make a complaint. When we pour out our stress on the staff, we've invariably shut that staff off. So when we say we operate on open door policy, we should also try to manage whatever conflicts that we might be having internally. Sometimes going to management meeting might have given you, it might be like we say in the local palace, the bus goes, and then you come out your seat sweating. Then you have the employee in your office trying to share probably an idea or trying to make a complaint. And because of the what you have experienced in the strong room, let me use that word, permit me to use that word, you tend to close up, and so you prevent that open communication which you would have had with the employee. You tend to push that employee aside. What have you done? You've succeeded in making the employee to realize that you cannot be trusted. You cannot be trusted. And so the next thing is ensure that we have that active listening. You see the word there, active, not just listening. Active listening. Don't be a HR officer and a HR professional, a HR manager, executive, or a business partner. Don't be a business partner that all you want to hear is you're listening in order to respond. Especially listening in this case has to do with what is the issue. Network. So the active listening here has to do with what is the issue? What is the staff talking about? Is the staff also giving me a feedback that I also need to look at as an individual? Because this is also very key. Let's not be selective at the point of listening. You decide what you want to listen, and then even if you don't have the time, what you can also do at that point in time is okay, I'm so sorry, what you want to say, is it urgent? Will it do you want is it 5 minute conversation? Is it going to take time? Okay, I have a meeting. Is it something we can reschedule? Is it an urgent issue? So now you are engaging the employee as well. You're also trying to get the employee to also see with you, and then both parties come to an agreement. It's okay. Tell me what you want me to hear. Okay, I've listened. Okay, this what can we do? Okay, can you give me 5 minutes? Wait here. Let me attend to this. I'll be back. But carry this staff along at every stage. Don't leave that staff hanging. Always embrace different values and viewpoints. Don't narrow your decision making from a particular view. Encourage more discussions, encourage more support, encourage more suggestions. It's possible that the idea might be coming from a junior. Yes, don't be shy. Don't be shy to when you want to now make a presentation. Be bold to to give credit to the staff, to the employee, to your colleague that brought the idea. Because when you have the team members that are performing excellently well, it also rub off on you, and that means you will also shine. But sometimes you find some managers, you find some team leads, because they don't want the employees to shine, so they rather take the credit. And when you have team members that work with such a line manager, that work with such a supervisor, that work with such an executive, you find out that next time they will not want to share their ideas because they believe that they will never get a thank you. So, how do you encourage your employees to ensure that they keep giving more, as against bottling up, as against hoarding information, as against hoarding creative ideas? It's also from your body language. They can tell if you are inclusive in your practice, in the way you carry out your work. They can also tell if you're actually projecting the culture of inclusiveness in what you do. You also need to promote collaboration, team building. If you want to go far, if you want to succeed, if you want to shine in your performance, collaboration is key. Remember that when an organization start out in a new calendar year, there is always the key performance that is given to all departments. There's always a goal. And when the goal is given, the goals are always being trickled down. So if you have team members, if you have line managers, if you work with other departments, because what you are doing, you are not limiting your work to your department alone. You are also trying to carry people along to ensure that other departments also run with the vision, and then together you also be able to achieve the goal set out for for the organization, which each individual and each department had also been able to share from. So team building is key. What are those activities you carried out to ensure team building? Do you have a game program? Do you have a cultural program? Do you have quiz competition? Do you have thank God it's Friday? Do you have fun time? Do you have a day you pick out for everybody to wear a particular color of dress? Do you have something to create fun in the environment? That will also help to create that team building that you're looking at. And so when you do that, then you also need to ensure equity, fairness, and advancement opportunity. The employees must see that everybody is equally How are you ensuring fairness in the process of let's assume in the process of say disciplinary, for example? How are you being fair? Can the candidate also see fairness even at the time of recruitment? Yes, they don't get to see what plays at the background, but can the candidate also, even when the candidate have done woefully, can the candidate also go back to say, oh, I can see this company is very transparent? Yes, the question they asked, the feedback I was giving, can they also see that from you? So when we say ensuring equity, fairness, and advancement opportunities, it speaks to how transparent we are. It also speaks to the open communication process. It also speaks to how regular we audit our process. Do we also give feed? Do we also carry out assessments? Do we also try to look out from the employees? What are we doing wrongly? What has HR done this week that you think is not okay? Oh, even the way I gave instruction the other day, is it okay? Oh, the way I make my presentation, is it okay? Don't be shy. Don't feel too small to ask for feedback. That is also part of how you can also tell if you're doing well and which area do you need to improve. In the process of the organization, you also need to seek for feedback from the vendors. Vendors also, the third parties, the stakeholders can also give you feedback, and that will also help you to also look at which area to also review. So there's a need for continual regular review of the process, carry out audits on a regular basis. Then you also look at equal pay. Yes, when we talk about sometimes we say, oh, some candidate come for an interview, oh, they don't know what they are worth, and then because we candidate have been able to say, oh, my salary, okay, pay me 20,000. Whereas you know that that candidate worth 200,000. Can you be seen to be fair? Or do you just want to go to management to say, oh, because the management has given you a target, and that part of the target is you have to be able to cut down on cost, and so you want to shine to tell management, oh, you've been able to cut down on cost by saving the company of about 180,000. No, you've only succeeded to bring down the employee, and the employee will come to the organization and realize that there's no fairness in the system. And then what next? The employee will only use your internet, will use your computer, and they will start looking for another job elsewhere. So invariably, you've succeeded in bringing in a disgruntled employee, and imagine such a disgruntled employee become another rotten apple that will now tend to poison the hearts of the other employees to say, oh, you're earning this salary. You don't even know if the other person's salary is more than yours, because this is what happened to me. And so you need to ensure equal pay review being carried out. Yes, sometimes you might make a mistake. Sometimes you can come to an organization and realize that there's an error that has been done in payment. A staff have been wrongly paid. So what do you do? Are you bold enough to meet management to say, oh, management, this is what you have observed, and make a business case? Because you also need, if you look at the stress involved of getting a candidate, so what are you trying to do at that point in time? You're also trying to save yourself that headache of going to fish for another candidate. Because when that staff that had been in the organization 4 years, 5 years, still serving in that position, being disgruntled, the staff is there because the staff does not have another alternative. And so you can come in to make the wrong to be right. Also, you also need to put in place mentorship. This is very key, because when you create this, you are also creating an avenue for succession planning. How are you helping the other department, the line managers, to groom those that are also in their team? How are you also ensuring that the employees are getting the needed support for their career growth? If you look at the diagram, you can see that it's not flat. There's that pyramid, there's that top, which shows that there should be room for growth. An employee that had come in at an entry level, can that employee have that fulfillment that, oh, there's tendency for me to also grow, because I can also see from the other employees in the organization that are also growing in the process. So before I move on, I want to be sure if you can hear me. Can you hear me? If you can hear me, let me get a yes in the chat room. If you can hear me, awesome. Thank you, sir. Now, looking at, and thank you, Mr. Tokwe. Now, looking at this slide, is talking about how do we address bias and discrimination, because it will definitely come to play. But our ability to address you. So if you look when you're looking at an employee, you don't discriminate against an employee because an employee is not a management staff. So you tend to treat them differently. No. And so what do you do in order to help other department line managers? There's need for the HR to come up with training, regular training to nip this in the bud. Training that captures the whole essence of line managers, supervisors, seeing all employees as being equal. Because if you decide to look at, for example, a cleaner, you look down on the cleaner, you don't expect the MD to keep the environment clean. So which shows that the role of the cleaner in an organization is also unique, and that means they need to also be celebrated. So the training is necessary because sometimes some employees don't even get to know that even at the mannerism, the non-verbal cue that is being expressed can also serve as a form of discrimination. Even at the point of selecting employees who should go for a training and who should not go, even at the point of assigning job roles, discrimination can come in at that point. Then also, there's a need to also encourage employees to also report when they are being discriminated upon. When there's that tendency for the line manager not to practice, not to create a culture of inclusiveness. When the behavior seems to be going against the company standard and practice. So this is very key. But if we don't encourage the employee to open up, to speak up, when probably an employee has been sexually molested or harassed, probably looking at the choice of words, if the culture is a type that we don't encourage the employee, then this discrimination will continue to um, see the light of the day. So reporting, encourage reporting. And how do you do that? You can probably just create a group can send reports without even stating their names, just to encourage them. And then when you get some of this feedback, when you get this report, ensure you carry out detailed investigation. Sometimes some HR executives tend to get tired and then they treat some jobs shabbily. They treat some reports shabbily. So investigation is being done because you now realize that, oh, whoever that is involved in this case is somebody that you're close to, is somebody that you get something from, you are 5 and 6 with this person. And then you tend to water down the weight of that issue. Then you have also not helped the culture of the organization to grow. And so when you carry out an investigation, where you know you're going to be biased carrying out the investigation, you can decide to step aside and assign another person to carry out that investigation. And looking at the investigation, follow through the disciplinary process and ensure that action is taken immediately. Because when an action is taken, then the other employees will get to see that, oh, this is an organization that acts immediately, as against making a report, as against seeing some practices that does not come in line with the organization's policy and then looking the other way. This is very, very important. So we need to take this very seriously. Also, when we look at all this, then our next slide, we realize that it all our activities is embedded through our code of conduct, through the ethical practices and employee well-being. When we look at this closely, then we'll be able to, you know, draw up policies, draw up code of conduct that will spell out the implication,
Spell out clear ethical guidelines so that nobody is in the dark. And then when employee come into an organization, all employees should have access to the document, should have access to the document, be it a hard copy, be it an e-soft copy. Of course, remember that we also try to preach going green. So making such a document available using the e-copy will be the best option so that employee can go with it and they can read it on a daily basis. Also, look at the wellness program of the organization. How is the program? How is it being carried out? Is it attending to, is it also taking care of the mental state of the employees? There was a meeting I got involved in recently, and I realized that the staff were made to go through meetings. They were having meetings at an ugly hours. And what I did was I reached out to one of the wellness of your employee, work-life balance, create a work-life balance process for the employees in order to promote flexibility. And that will also help the staff. In conclusion, HR needs to create an environment that creates that workplace that can promote success. Focus more on equality, building trust, innovation. Remember, diversity without inclusion is not enough. When you say you're creating diversity, and you exclude the team members at the time of decision making, at the time of getting their input, then you have not succeeded in preaching this gospel, which we are talking about. So I want to say a big thank you for finding time to attend. And yes, I know that the network have disrupted one way or the other, but I'm happy that we're able to get it to this point. Thank you so very much. Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mary. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining tonight. We're calling it a wrap at this intersection. Let's just unmute and say thank you to our amiable facilitator. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Ma. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you very much. God bless you.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Thank you, Ma.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank you.
Thank
Those that are joining.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you so much.